My name is Cooper Duke, and I'm with Home Sweet Home Incorporated, and we're doing an analysis of the current housing market and trying to make selections within the market for my own portfolio. So the agenda for today is that I'll go over how I received and cleansed the data. Then I'll go over multiple different analysis and data manipulation techniques that I used to help better understand this data. And then in conclusion, I'll end with my final thoughts and my selections for the houses in my portfolio. So starting off with data cleansing, it's important for an accurate analysis, but by this point, I think that we are almost all pros just because of how much cleaning we've had to do. But luckily, this data set came pretty clean to begin with. So there's only one thing that I had to do, and that was by personal preference. I decided to change the remodel value from a alphabetic value to a numeric value. So this being said, I changed the none value to 0 and the recent value to 1, just because I like using everything in numeric values when I'm using different regression techniques, and it makes it a lot easier to just put everything in the same format. So then I took this data in Excel and I decided to use one of their data analysis support tools, which is the correlation Excel analysis tool. And by doing so, I was given these two charts here. And you can see the first one is the total value chart, where total value is seen by being correlated with gross area and living area the most. And you can see that on the chart. And this can be brought up later as well. And then on the remodel section, you can see that the full bath and the year built are the two total outliers. Therefore, they have the most strain on this reasoning. So then after I came up with those regression correlation techniques, I decided to go to RulesBuddy to try to back up these claims that I made in the last slide. So instead of using that Excel technique that I did, I went to the StatsBuddy app and I was able to make decision trees based off of all the different variables that were chosen. So once again, you can see that total value is really determined by living area. And that's just one of the driving factors, because as you can see on the decision tree there, if your living area is below 2083, you're in a whole different category than a different group of people. Therefore, it can fluctuate around hundreds of 200 points, numeric points here. And that's something that causes a big difference, you know? And then in the remodel decision tree, you can see that there's 3 big variables that cause houses need to be remodeled or not. And that's first the total value, then how many full bathrooms they have, and then lastly, what year the house was built. So this being said, if a house has a lower value of 393, then it is most likely going to be up for remodeling possibly. And then once again, if a house is worth more than 393, but has less than 2 bathrooms, full bathrooms, then it is most likely to get remodeled as well. So after finding out that interesting information about the actual correlations between the variables, I wanted to look at the actual selection of houses that I have the option of selecting from. So by doing that, I decided there's 20 houses that I could potentially buy. All these houses have been built in the years between 1875 to 2004. Therefore, a big range, but that's good because there's houses of all types. But one thing that I noticed was all these houses, they all have 1 kitchen, they all have 1 full bath, and they all have at least 2 bedrooms. Therefore, there's some consistency between these houses and can help differentiate from another. So then after finding out about these houses, I decided to go into actual analysis, and I started out with feature extraction. And I decided to do this because I wanted to create more accurate variables so that I can get more accurate predictions down the line. So after getting these, because PC7 to PC11 were no longer adequate in my opinion, so I disregarded those and was only using PC1 to PC6 in my analysis. So then I went to my predictive analysis after that. So starting with total value, I decided to go with 41% validation data and using the dependent variable of total value, independent variable of lot square feet, gross area, and living area, because in the first couple slides, we talked about these independent variables that really correlate with these dependent variables. The regression technique that I used was linear regression, and I was able to get a 77.2% R squared value, which is above the 75% that I was looking for. In the remodeling section, I was using a 40% validation data with a dependent variable of remodel, an independent variable of total value, year built, and full bath, as we saw in the decision tree on the third slide. And the regression technique that I used was random forest because it gave me the best accuracy of almost 84% on my remodel prediction, which I thought was pretty nice. So from there, I tried to jump around to genetic analysis and strategizing with data, and I attempted this. But however, with multiple hours of work and waiting for R to try to reboot and all my, I guess, do the process, the RAM kept getting stuck and crashing the whole program, as well as getting errors when I was trying to do the strategizing data attempt. And I kept scrolling all the way back up, trying to figure out where the error started, but I could never figure it out. Therefore, I continued looking at the Excel and my other predictions and my other decision trees, and I came to a conclusion here about these are my selected homes. And that is based off of the predicted total values, as well as the total value and gross area value. So the houses that I chose were house 9, 4, 13, 8, and 20. And this was basically because of the total value and gross area ratio. Those were the lowest. And because of that, I believe that they're the highest valued for the highest amount of gross area. Therefore, the best value for your buck. And that's what we're looking for. And then additionally, when looking at the remodel section, it was important to think about what we talked about earlier in the decision tree: the price, number of bathrooms, full bathrooms, and the year that the house was made. And because of this, the first 3 houses that I chose do not need to be remodeled. But however, house number 8 and house number 20 do need to be remodeled because of this. And as you can see, the total value predicted of my 5 homes is 2,323.22. The gross area is under 20,000 with 19,608, with a total value gross area ratio of 0.118 and only having 2 out of 5 being remodeled. This is something that looks good in my portfolio, and I believe is a good choice for the company in the future. Therefore, thank you. And I hope this was informational to you and we can be good partners.